I'm going to be calling COVID the awakening. For me, it was an awakening. And I don't call it locked down, I call it locked in. Because whilst I was locked in, whilst a lot of us were locked in, we began to realize certain things that was actually missing in our lives in terms of financial freedom. I experienced it. Thinking that, oh, she's out there doing all kinds of things, making money. It wasn't like that for artists. We were locked inside. So it became a huge challenge. Now, this is us having something we're doing. What about those that didn't have anything that they were doing? What about the, sit-at-home moms, wives who weren't really doing much? I was feeling so much for them at that time. But thank God, a lot of us found ourselves in the COVID. And then we began to make corrections. I learned a lot. I brought out my chat books. I began to look at imagine me having over how many million followers on Instagram. I didn't know what to do with it. People were making money online. I began to realize that I had this platform and I wasn't doing anything with it. So, I drew out my charts and I began to ask questions as well. What is the way forward after this COVID? 3 months I grew within that 3 months of lockdown. Now, I also looked at the people who were in the rural areas as well. Whilst I was self-developing myself at home, I was also keeping tabs at people who were in the villages as well. They made money through their seemingly little farming at the backyard. My mom is one. She's a widow, but she was making money. Imagine me asking my mother to please borrow me money during the COVID. It was crazy. So, when COVID came, I now put out my charts. From July to November, my sisters, I have grown both financially and what have you. Connecting, partnering with people consistently on this, trying to see how I can partner with as much people as I can partner with. Data is just 1,000 naira. Rather than Facebooking and gossiping on Facebook, I Facebooked on developing myself. So this helped me a lot, and I'm sure that a lot of women sitting down here, it also opened your eyes to a lot of things you could do without, with the issue with COVID. So we leverage. Leveraging for me is what I can define as taking advantage, as tapping into, as making light a burden. So I leverage on digital marketing. I leverage on partnering with people. I leverage on connecting with people. I leverage on sitting down here with women like this, which we had lots of forums online. Zooming became one of the biggest things ever. Zoom became amazing for a lot of people. A lot of us, monies were being made online. So I leveraged on all of that, and I learned how to use my tool to make money. Now, very quickly, I want to just give us a few points on how we can use our connectivity, no matter, even here as we are, we can actually make a lot of money just sitting down here and listening to speakers, listening to panelists, even listening to the convener and even Senator Binta said a lot about e-commerce. I mean, I was shaking because half of the things she said was what I actually wrote down. So for me, it meant women were thinking, women were working. It meant we were doing so much. Apart from the fact that we were really affected as women during the COVID, we also grew. COVID wasn't the last thing wasn't the thing that would have stopped us from growing. We began to learn from COVID. So for me, COVID was, 80% a blessing for me. And I'm sorry for those who lost their loved ones. So the key word here is leverage. Mother Teresa once says, if you can't feed 100 people, feed just one person. You're making impact with just that person. You're making impact with your community. You're making impact in your environment. So if you can change the mindset of some of our women who think that they can't survive if a man do not give them money, let's look for ways to make them change that mindset. It's so critical now. Let's look for ways to make them know that they're everything, they're more than enough. Let's look for ways to encourage the next person that is sitting down beside you. I do that a lot, and it has helped me, even me personally, to develop more than as I used to be. So, rather than sitting down and saying, how can I get, rather think, how can I give? Give is the way forward. We're sitting down here and connecting with women like this. It's about giving. I knew what I went through just coming down to this place. And I know what you all went through just to be here. So you can't let it go to waste. You must get some. You must give something. You must learn something. I didn't learn anything about Instagram at some point. People were making money. I had to learn how to make money on Instagram. I had to learn. So you can see that it's not just what do they call them? Influencers that know how to make money. For some of us as artists, do not know how to do anything on Instagram. Where is Auntie Rekia? Auntie Rekia can't even post a picture on Instagram. Auntie Rekia, I hope this is going to be an icon opener. You must learn to use your digital platform to at least, if nothing else, let's just see a beautiful face on your platform, your Instagram page, and then we like it. So it's so important for us that no matter where we are at every point in time, let us learn to encourage one another, do things for ourselves, and even for the next person. And then we'll make this society of ours a better place. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, Mona Lisa Chinda Coker. She realized she had an army of people following her on social media. That she labeled fans, not knowing that is money there, And then took COVID to open the eyes to know that when it comes to making influence leverage, you have to leverage your numbers, not just having them. And that's definitely an eye-opener. And you grew financially. Isn't it amazing that at a time where some people were not making money, others came up with ideas of how they can make money?
Let me cut you short on that. The thing about the growing financially within the last 13 months, July last year to November last year, this year, was when I realized that I had assets that were just lying fallow. Nothing was being done. So I've turned those assets to farming. So it's what I'm doing now, a farm. Yes. So that's what I used those assets lying down fallow, doing nothing, and then it's generating some sort of income for me and my family.
It's interesting because one thing that most people in the entertainment industry were saying is the fact that they can no longer go out, there were no shows, you can go to the nation to shoot. So looking inward to see how you could leverage is really important for people in the entertainment sector. And if you look at if you listen to what she said, you can actually tie it to other sectors as well and see how you can leverage on that. Doc, you are in the academics, and most schools were actually shut down. You had to come up with ways to walk around. Tell us in 3 minutes how, from your own profession and what you do, you can speak to this topic.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you, my co-panelists. I would like to start by commending the organizers of this conference. There is a Muslim saying that woman is the first academy. So strengthen woman or empower woman, you empower the youth. And if you empower the youth, you empower the society. So thank you for doing this. We should all be doing this, helping our mothers and sisters. And if I would just, since we're talking about lessons learned from COVID, if there is one lesson we have learned is that we live in an asymmetric world. Actually, people who are the most privileged, they suffer more when bad things happen. And when good things happen, they benefit less. We have seen that with COVID, where when we shut down, when the person who lives day by day is the most affected. And if we look at around us in our villages, the people who suffer more are our mothers, our sisters. So this asymmetry is something that we need to address. I will come back to that when I talk about perspective. Another issue we have seen is when the COVID relief comes. When we had COVID relief, what we saw is that some government were trying to send money to people, but they were far away. We were trying to give them mobile money. But you need to have a phone. You need to have a phone to get that mobile money. Who are the people who are not having those phones? Mostly our sisters and our mothers. So something that we need to address when I come to the perspective. So I would like to talk about 3 items related to lessons. The first one is opportunity. My sister talked about it. So what we learned with COVID is that when you are in troubled time, you discover your strength. With COVID, we have discovered how resilient we can be. We have discovered how imaginative we can be to come up with solutions. And we have seen that in academia, for example, CMU, where I come from, we did not stop. We stopped for 2 weeks, then we went online, and we were able to give a whole academic year, and we even graduated students. So that is something that we have learned how to do because there was a problem in front of us. So instead of being afraid of problems, I think that taking them as an opportunity to make money, like my sister, is something that we should be doing. E-health. I have a child who is sick most of the time. During the COVID time, we were always able to talk to the doctor online and maybe talk to more doctors, because now you don't need to do the trip. You don't need to lose time. Time is important. You don't need to pay the bus or the taxi to go see the doctor. You stay in your home and you talk to the doctor. We discovered this because of COVID. Many businesses went online and started making even more money. Zoom, actually, that we are using today. Zoom jumped from the 0 to the 100 part. Okay? But we have discovered our strength. We need to carry on with our strength. We should not get back. And for that, there are things that need to happen. The first one is connectivity. We're talking about connectivity. Well, we do have it here in Kigali, in Dakar, in Abuja, but you go to the village, they don't have connectivity. So our sisters, our mothers there, they don't have access to connectivity. So when we talk about taking advantage of this, leveraging this, that's maybe true for us, but not for them. So one thing that we need to be working on is to make sure that we provide connectivity for all. The ITU actually is mandating all countries to have universal coverage. It's not happening in our countries. We need to be working more on connectivity. We need to be working for access, actually, to be able to do many things. Go Instagram, Facebook. I need the data on my phone. If I cannot afford it, I cannot have it. So we need to give access to those people. We need to make sure that data and connectivity is available to the people. I am not even talking about having a phone to be able to connect. It's something that many of us don't. So we need to make sure that we provide those to our sisters and our mothers. But knowledge also. So COVID has taught us that we can teach people far away without being there, without needing to go there. So we need to leverage this to make sure that our sisters in the villages are having the knowledge that they need to step up and actually enjoy the digital life that we are enjoying in the cities. So making sure that we provide the education that is needed to our sisters and our mothers, and make sure that they have access to it. That is another accessibility. Is something that we need to carry on. We should not go back to where we were before. We need to give them the technical knowledge. I am in technology. I work in cyber security. One of the campaigns that we are doing is to encourage more women into the field, because we need that. We need the women in the field, so that a certain aspect, actually, they understand it better than us. They have other ideas that probably we don't. So we need to give them the technical skills they need to be technically savvy, actually. Right, yeah. But there are other things that we need to keep in mind with the digital world. We need to make sure that the solution we are bringing are coming to help the people and not to harm them. I'm talking about security. If you have 500 franc here and it's gone one day, well, I might not feel it, but my grandma in the village feels it. Okay? If her privacy happens to be online one day, it can hurt her. And we have seen people actually get hurt because of that. So privacy. We need to protect people's digital rights. As we are transitioning to the digital world, we need to protect that. So while we have opportunities in front of us, we need also to be mindful of what can go wrong and make sure that we are ready for that. I'm sorry if I was wrong, my sister, but that's where I wanted to start things.
You've actually, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's true because, there's a whole lot we can get online, looking at leveraging, digital power to ensure that we live a better life now and post-COVID. But drawing our attention to the fact that there are also risks that we need to be conscious of is also very, very important. Now, Dr. Asen has told us that we need to deal with the release of technology. Now, there's opportunity in every problem, pretty much. If I want to summarize what you said, in every problem, there is an opportunity. So how do we locate these opportunities and how do we really bring them to bear in our daily life, and most especially in the life of those who don't have access to this technology, access to this connectivity. During the lockdown in Nigeria, I know businesses that suddenly came to life, not Zoom, delivery. People started, businesses at home, they make food, they deliver to people, it's all kinds of things came up. While some were just sitting down and saying, how do I survive? So it came to a point, some who had the technology had to realize that it's beyond a selfie tool to a money-making tool, right? And that is very, very important as well. And access, we need to create that. And you need to say, instead of being afraid of problem, we should take advantage of it. And I also like what you said about the fact that we need to protect. We need to protect people, especially the people who want to introduce this technology to now to say you can use this to connect, you can leverage on it and make your life better. We also have to teach them the pitfall that could be daring, and so that when they are taking advantage of it, it does not become a disadvantage onto them. Thank you very much, Doctor. I like to see hands and papers flying. There's something I should have said before we started is the fact that earlier on we heard some phones ringing. Please put them on silence or turn them off. There are a lot of smartphones in here, and some are not so smart. Please turn all of them off. Thank you very much. But put them on silence, and let's have your questions and contributions from the side of the device, because like I said, we are moderating this together. And I would like to have your intervention as well, if that is what it is, but we need to make it really, really quick and straight to the point. I'd like to see who the first person is. Fumi, are you around? Do I need to send a mic to... Okay. All right. I'm seeing a hand or two up, so we need to get the microphone
Okay,
to them. I actually said you should write down. Did you do that, sir? Okay, please go ahead. You have 1 minute. Is this an intervention or a question, sir? The light is all on me. I can't even see you.
I'm Jide Falade. I'm from Osun State, Nigeria.
Welcome, sir.
Most times when we discuss issues like this, it seems as if we concentrate more on literate people, the elites, forgetting the grassroots. So when you are talking about ICT, connectivity, accessibility, and what have you, forgetting that at the grassroots down there, those people, they really understand what we are discussing here. And I think this program is for them, especially. I think enough of discussing things that those people will not understand and won't be able to make use of it. When Auntie Linda was speaking the other time, she talked about developing herself right in her bedroom and making money. And she ended up saying that we should try as much as we can to help people by giving. And I don't think when you want to develop people, it is not limited to giving alone. Sometimes you need to sometimes you need to give knowledge. Yeah. So and when you want to give knowledge, I think it is more important than giving material things. And when you are doing it from that perspective, I feel that there should be a way of teaching people at the grassroots of the use of all these technologies we are talking about. The phone, more importantly. You won't believe it, we are in the era of ICT. We have literates that don't even understand how to make use of simple computer. That computer system. Give them a laptop, they start fumbling. So what I'm saying in essence is this. When we are doing a campaign of this nature, we should fashion out a way of making sure that those vulnerable people at the grassroots level understand what we are discussing, and we should find means of reaching them. And many times when we do campaign of this nature, we blow grammar. We often blow grammar when we get to the grassroots. Even when we invite them to meetings, we speak English. Sometimes we speak French. These are things that they don't understand. I think sensitizing people at the grassroots requires speaking their local language and coming to their level. Like for example, if you want to teach a toddler how to read and write, I think you start from ABC. You start from ABD in Yoruba. So what I'm saying in essence is, we can still introduce this same thing to them at the grassroots, speaking their language and simplifying everything that we want to teach them. So that even we, as individuals, we have so many things to gain from them. When we are talking the other time, you said you are now a farmer. And I'm telling you that we have farmers that have more simpler technology that you are using, and the people produce more. So what I'm saying is, it should be a symbiotic kind of thing. We should be able to gain from them while they are gaining from us too. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that intervention. I think that you are technically agreeing with my panelists because from Doctor's point of view, he said, teach this technology to the people who are in the grassroots, and then let them also know there could be a danger so they can use it for their own good and at the same time be protected from whatever risks they can be. But I feel you, right? Because it's not about just having talks. I think at some point I'm going to draw Dr. Juma into this conversation. Because when you talked about the grassroots and have us having conversations here and it not getting down, there are physical, very, very touchable examples of conversations that we've held like this that have trickled down to women in the grassroots with impact that you can see. If we had time, we could have even played videos for you. That's why I'm saying I'm probably going to drag her into the conversation. But that's a very key point that you have made. And maybe I'm going to, Doctor, you want to say something to that before we take the next question, Mona?
Well, I cannot agree more on
Yes.
what my brother said. So part of what we are doing actually is make sure that the technology is accessible for teaching. So COVID has taught that we can teach remotely. So let's use that technology now to teach our sisters in the village, because we should be able to reach them. So I cannot agree more.
And also go and teach them how to, because if they don't know how to, what he's saying, they cannot operate these, gadgets, you can teach them with it. So we also have to give them the know-how, right? Of how to operate these gadgets.
So, hello,
Dr. Jide.
Dr. Jide. Some of us have training centers in the rural areas where, apart from farming, we also teach them digital ways of farming without only being there physically. So these are few things that we may not, come out all here and say everything, but basically we're trying to also find ways to reach out to the people from the grassroots, just like he says, to also have them have a bit of knowledge on what digital technology is about. Thank you so
All
much.
right, please go ahead.
Yes, Pamela. Mine is just a recommendation. During the morning session, there was this recommendation that was made that there has to be Nollywood stars have come in the campaign so that they bring in the songs, the movies. So it just took me back to where I'm coming from, Malawi, whereby during lockdowns, many people were depressed, many people were sad. And even looking at the phone, the mobile connectivity, it was hard because every time you open your phone, you're seeing messages of people dying, people that are close to you, people that you know. So it just brought, this feeling of not even wanting to look at your phone because you're always afraid. So I was recommending that if the Nollywood is indeed coming in with the drama in the songs, in the entertainment, it will be good because it's comforting and at the same time it's encouraging and it's also teaching some lessons that on how we can best come out positively with this pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very true. I think the challenge is out there already, and the Nollywood people are here. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
There's no Kepi, there's someone behind him. Yes, after the lady. There's a lady with a microphone already.
All right, thank you. My name is Cecilia from Nigeria. I just have two questions, one for Lisa and one for Doctor. So you said COVID made you actually searched your inner self and then you realized other means of making money. You actually grew financially. What was that aha moment you had that made you realize that this thing you had in your hand could actually gain you more income? Then for you, Doctor, I actually believe and I agree with you that we can spread that technology to even the less privileged, right? Because we have partners who are actually working on technologies that are not so standard or too, standard, just below a bit so some people can access. But the question is how? You mentioned we need to do A, we need to do B, we need to do C. The question is how? Like all these vulnerabilities, all these challenges are out there, we know. But if you could hear like the one how you're intending to actually reach these people, and if I'm not trying to be the pessimist or negative, but if there was a second wave of COVID now, can you or will you be able to reach those women that you have actually identified? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's start with Doctor before we come to you now. And please, could you write down your questions? Can you write them down? Maybe I should give out number for 4. What do we say? 4 more persons? I want to take numbers. I have some, the lady behind the Kepi. Okay, who has the microphone there? All right. Salamata has the microphone. I have a sister in front here and another here. Oh, all of a sudden everybody have a question. No, but that's fine, right? Okay, Doctor.
Okay, so thanks, sister, for the question. Very important because we need to do this, we need to do that, but we need to do it actually. We should stop talking the talk, we should walk the walk. So what prevents us from doing this most of the time is that we think that this is expensive. We think that you need to be connected to be able to do it. It's not always true. Today, we are using technology that are very cheap to reach people in distance areas. For example, Wi-Fi that we buy here, and people think that it's short range, but we have worked on long distance Wi-Fi. That the $30 box that you buy, you amplify it a little bit, and you can connect now villages 5 kilometers away. There has been a project actually in India where we connected in an area of 9 kilometers hospital to do telemedicine, and all is based on Wi-Fi. So cost is down. The technology is cheap. We are not buying computers now. We have what we call Raspberry Pi. It's a small computer that costs $30. Then you can give access to maybe students in a village school. So we should stop thinking that it's impossible. It's there, it's doable. There are certainly some efforts in what we call the ICT for development, where we are working. It's just we need to make aware our leaders that the technology is there. So, of course, as a lab, we are doing our thing, but it's a pilot, but we need to bring it out and make it available to people. But yeah, cheap, stop thinking it's expensive, it's not. Stop thinking that you need to be connected. Even putting a course in a USB drive and sending it to the village so that people can now follow a course is a solution. You don't need to connect them to the internet to give them what they need. We need to be thinking out of the box.
Scatter the box. Just scatter it. No box anymore. We're outside of it. What was that aha moment she asked for you when you realized I can actually, become more financially empowered during this supposedly stressful time?
So for me, it was, like I said to you, it was an awakening for me. I took a lot of things for granted, thinking that having reached a certain status, I won't really go down. But no, the COVID hit me not negatively per se. It sort of jump-started my, it just had to just register that I was more than I was more. I was pregnant with so much ideas, but I didn't know how. I was anxious. I didn't know how to go about this content that I have. I'm a content creator, but how many platforms am I showcasing my content? I'm not on YouTube. So I began to realize that if I use my natural giving talent, which is just only based on acting, which I'm now more behind the scenes now anyway, I could do other things. So for me, I had to learn. The vision was clear. So I had to now pay to learn. I had to get people to teach me online. So that for me was what broke the ice. So I just had to go out of my comfort zone to get things done.
Okay.
Is that okay?
All right, that's all, says Kevin. Brother Fred, you have the phone. Which one of you have the phone? The microphone?
Well,
Phone, microphone.
good evening, everybody. My name is Fred Amata. I wanted to respond to the gentleman over there. I liked the idea of identifying. Brother Jide, you say Brother Jide? Okay, Dr. Jide.
It's not Sister Jide, so we're good.
It's not Sister Jide. So I like the fact that he identified exactly where the problem truly lies. And the problem, since it lies in the rural area, we have over the years, or over the time, continued to think that, these people are backward. They can't go for a means to meet them where they are in their backward place. I think I want to disagree with that here. we are naturally born to learn and to improve. Sometimes they say you can't teach an old man new tricks, but it is inevitable in the world today that we are going in this direction. The world is going digital. There's no stopping it. So we cannot let our people remain in that backward, in quotes, position. They must improve. We must, and it's not as if the technology is so complicated. It is actually on an average level of simplicity, where if you put your mind to it, you can actually begin to learn. I hear there are different centers trying to improve people.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it is something that we must pursue dedicatedly to ensure that we can improve this. I think it's something that the African Women Conference can also take on and say, why don't we develop a means to reach all, or a formula that takes us to the rural areas and ensures that a good percentage of those who are there can improve and become compliant with the years as they go by. And I'd like to respond to her too about the aha moment. Mona Lisa, there's no aha moment. You come to a realization that, oh, there's this thing, and then you start to work on it. And it takes you time. It doesn't happen. Did it happen overnight? It won't happen overnight. In the same vein, we can continue to build our people, and it will happen. It will happen. It is inevitable. That is what I want to drive from here today. I think you want to say something. My collaboration failed.
You know, whenever Fred starts off, I finish. My name is Gabby. For me, my contribution is more of a comment. We are only limited by our imagination. And Dr. Jide's contribution suggested that to me. My youngest child is 23 years old, and he graduated from university like 2-3 years ago. So because of him and through him, I have met a multitude of children, and they come in different coloration, different complexion. Some of them have dropped out of school, but they're all very intelligent people. Every time I speak with them and I try to encourage some of them to go back to the university, they apparently know more than university dons, because they're maximizing from their phones already, and because they think of the formal process of acquiring knowledge as boring or stereotypical or also limiting. Now, when you expect for us to think that the rural people in rural areas are really in rural areas, we need to have a rethink. Because even when we decided to black Katsina out because of the problems we have with terrorism, what did the bandits do? Automatically they started using Turayas. They did not need formal training. It was instinctive, it was almost impulsive. That's what happened. So our people in the rural areas, and you were shocked to find out that this is true, are actually built in capacity because there's hunger. You know, and only for now in Nigeria today, the only people who remain trapped in poverty here, I'm employing loosely, not necessarily related to cash, is poverty of imagination and creativity. The only people who will consider that poor are people who are lazy people. Anybody who wakes up in the morning and desires and aspires, achieves. So let's not place all that emphasis on formal education, capacity building, and all that. Let's encourage people to desire, to aspire, to want to achieve. And there's all this problem of leveraging all that, leveraging all this. All that will be a thing of history, and we can move on faster. Thank you.
Most definitely. Thank you very much. Let's encourage people to desire, to aspire, to want to learn. And we also need to come up with compatible ways to teach people where they are. System that they are compatible with. Teach them, however, so long as the knowledge is there. Oh my goodness, more hands. Now we're going to try to round this off because I promised Doctor he has an appointment to catch, and we don't want to keep him for too long.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sinisola Ayali from Abuja.
All right, you have a minute.
Yeah, permit me to look at the to deal with COVID-19 in general terms.
No, not general. Let's.
No, that is how I want to. Just permit me. I'm going to very good for that.
All right.
COVID-19 has come, and it's a moment that this generation will not forget in a hurry. Yes, it came with all manner. But you will pick yours and I will pick mine. COVID-19 has positive effects and it also has the negative effects. It came with positive effects, which that gentleman up there has dealt with. You know, it was an eye-opener, introducing us into different way we can do things in a trendy way that we generate funds. COVID-19 also gave us negative effects. What are these negative effects? One of it was the way our people turned themselves to beggar all of a sudden. Because during COVID-19, especially if you don't have family, if you are a responsible person and you have one or two people, rely on you, there was no how you wake up in the morning, you know somebody calling you to ask you for more money or the other.
Right.
But the other way is that I work in a place where I interface with youth of Nigeria on daily basis, and they come up with a particular thing. I realize that they just do the same thing. Nigeria love chorus so much. They will say they want to see the honorable minister. Why do you want to see the honorable minister? You are coming for courtesy visits. Award. I kept collecting awards every day, or every time it's award I'm collecting.
Right.
So recently, some youth came. Excuse me, please, because we can pick up something from what I want to see. Some youth came. There were about 30 in my office. They want to see honorable minister. I drilled them. When I look at their faces, I just saw expectation of manner, and I told them, "You are not going to see honorable minister." And if I could guess your age, they will be between 20 and 30. I said, as you all standing, you mean you cannot do something that the government of FCT will be looking for you? We have Superzek out there. We have Bill Gates. They came up with an idea that the whole world is counting on you. Can't you think of something that will change the narrative, that will make the FCT minister accept to do for you, that will make the FCT minister the mail Honorable Bello to call you to come and please bring you into government and advise on the way to go. So all these things COVID-19 gave us, it forced us to be able to think. If you think well, you pick up something. And COVID-19 also brought about unity between couples. Because there are many couples who don't stay at home. There are some husbands who don't stay at home every sleep.
So
But during COVID-19,
because we're still going to talk about other topics. We don't want to move away from the focus of this particular panel. And you have made a very valid point. It's actually important for the youth to look inward, be able to gain from what has happened with COVID and use that knowledge to draw attention. We're looking at Elon Musk, we're looking at people who are doing stuff and you're looking for them to say, please come, what can you do for us? That is very, very correct. And thank you for that intervention. Let's just, try to keep it within the topic. There's so much you can say when it comes to, what has happened since COVID, but let's try to keep it within the. Okay, Antirekia.
Thank you very much, panelists. And thank you also, Mona Lisa, for making an example out of me. I confess to her. I'm the one who used my mouth to confess to her. Now, this is what she did with it. Okay. And you go and learn. I will pay where you paid. And learn. Thank you very much for the conversations. And I think that, I'm sat down and hearing all of it. And the most important thing that I wish we could invite from this conference is to look inwards. To look inwards. We have mentioned, infrastructure, you understand, and how it is important to get the, bands, the internet. This is what people need. Beyond that, on individual levels, what can we do? Now, I'll use Nigeria as an example. There's some women who feed children and pay school fees by roasting corn. Some of us will go and park our cars near there, and the woman will tell you corn is 100 naira, and you are pricing it. Are you okay? Why are you pricing it? What are you pricing it? She said it's 100 naira.
And then you go to ShopRite and buy 200.
No, you understand?
Maybe 500.
You price it. And she's got 3 or 4 children. If you find somebody who roasts corn very well, or does akara very well, and you and your family enjoy her akara, with 10,000 naira, listen, you can empower that your genius son who knows how to use the internet, who knows how to use his phone, and create a value chain of interest around this akara on the streets. So people get to hear about her akara through you because you were concerned about it. Her akara is now on the internet. People know that she has good akara there. Somebody might wake up from another place and come there to buy it. We have that power, we have that resource. Why do we not use it for each other? I'll just say, oh, Mama Tunde's egusi is very nice, and I keep buying Mama Tunde's egusi. But I have children who are very internet savvy, and I don't give them, mobilize them 10,000 naira, they will spread it, buying Facebook advert for her, or whatever they do up there, on the internet. And before you know it, Mama Tunde has more patronage because you as a woman were concerned about her output.
And very important. You see, it's a win-win situation, the scenario you're painting now. When these children do this and they draw crowds to Mama Tunde's akara, other people who sell similar things will say, oh, can I pay you to do the same for me? It is going to be value addition all the time. They are now getting money and becoming influencer for other people.
I think so, Rita. It's just going to be value. We can kickstart that value chain. The boy will probably get to know, and the boy appreciates you because he has seen his mother or his auntie or his grandma try to lift another woman. It becomes ingrained in him, and he will do it again. Do you see what I think we have? Beyond theoretical spheres, we have practical things that we can do as women. You understand? In our own environment, and be able to encourage some of those things. Another thing I want to encourage Mona Lisa to do is, for instance, call me who doesn't know how to do it. Say, come, let me teach you.
That's her begging technically for you to teach her. Did you say yes?
No. If she had called me one day and said, oh, Ricky, come. I have noticed you don't know how to do this. What's your problem? I will tell her. Then she said, come, let me teach you. She will teach me. And post something that I do. She says, okay, Ricky, let me teach you how to do it. Or something, and help each other. That's a joke. But then it's true. That's, I think, how we can help one another. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Auntie Ricky. I think that intervention just brings it home. I'm going to come back to Auntie Ricky. Okay. 1 minute, ma'am, please. Thank you.
This is my 2 cents. I just feel like the most part of...
Ma'am, can we know your name, please?
My name is Mariam Mundeko. I think the most part of the problem we're having, or the challenges that most of us do have, is emotional and mental. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expect different results. It's okay for everyone to sit down, talk about, the challenges, talk about solutions, and we just sit down and, there's no difference. So we have to work on ourselves mentally. It's very important. That's the, I can't say give me 1 minute, I can't talk too much.
All right, thank you very much. Now, yes, you can join them and, give her a hand of. Thank you. I come back to my panelists to give them a minute each, because I know Dr. needs to run, is the fact that this conversation is ongoing. And you talked about the fact that it's an emotional thing. We have Senator Binta in the building. We have Fred Awata in the building. We have Kepi. We have Kate. We have, a whole lot of people who you can speak to within this room. So it's not like when we finish, you pick your bag and start, getting off. You can engage people, talk to them about issues. It's about networking and also rubbing minds and sharing knowledge while we're here. So I just wanted to put that out. Let me come back to you two now to give you 1 minute each. Let's try and bring this home so that we can move to the networking stage of today's event. Amen?
Okay, so I would say that first of all, let's all have a very positive mindset to some of these issues. Having positive mindsets and also learn how to self-develop yourselves, self-development, self-growth. It's never ending. I'm still growing, learning every day and improving myself, and it is evident in some of the things that I do. So it's not just sitting down here like Auntie Rika says, the lady over there says as well, not asking ourselves what is it that is inside of us that we can actually do to effect change. What do we have? Forget about what someone is going to give to you. What do you have that is existing inside of you that you can bring out to the front burner for people to pick up and then give you the platform to rise? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dr.
Thank you. To stay on the positive note, I'm a believer that people are able to find solutions. The difference between me playing and doing extraordinary things with my phone and my cousin who is in the village is that I have the phone and he does not. So I think that part of what we should be doing is making sure that access is universal. And it does not need to be fancy. It does not need to be expensive. Let's give. You say give. Let's give what we have. Let's share what we have. It does not need the whole village to be educated. We need to educate one. And that one person will educate the others. So let's do the little that we can do and just let it spread. If people have access to technology, they will use it in a good way. That's the message I would like to leave you with.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asen. If you cannot help the whole village at the same time, help one person at a time and teach them to teach others how to use this knowledge and leverage on technology and gain and move forward post-COVID. Thank you very much, Mona Lisa Chinda-Koka, and thank you very much, Dr. Asen, for doing an amazing job of this. And I think we can take home from here is that one thing we can take home is the fact that no matter how little, with technology that you have with you, you can impact someone by way of helping them create wealth from what you have learned so far. If it's only posting the fact that they sell to Oshikafa somewhere, that is really nice, it will go a long way to help that woman who is on the street. If you can teach this woman's son to use his phone to help the mother build their business, they will go better. Beyond the city, even to the rural area. Now, Antirekia, I promise not to price con anymore. Thank you very much. And please, can you help me put your hands together for my panelists? They've done an amazing job. Let's have a picture we are taking here.